Now, marketing and brand consultancy DNA Brand Architects scooped the top award at the 2019 PRISM Awards. It took home the coveted Campaign of the Year trophy. This is the first 100% black-owned agency to win the prize in the award's 20-year history. So to tell us how it achieved this, we're joined now by the founder and chief architect of DNA Brands Architects, Sylvester Chauke. I believe that you did not have a truck big enough to bring out all the other awards.
I couldn't. That's why I just thought just to bring the top lines.
But tell us about this journey. I mean, Sylvester, many individuals are seeing the awards right now and the campaigns and the success that you've made of yourself, but many don't know that it's actually been quite a journey, a significant journey in your world of advertising.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's always wonderful to talk about the accolades, but I think the journey itself has been probably one of the most challenging because, I mean, the advertising and brand communication sector as a whole is not very transformed. And so going into the space, you already know the challenges that you're going to face. Number one, do you have the credentials to be able to play in the space? Number two, as a black-owned, black-run agency, do you have the ability to be able to deliver that? And of course, there's skepticism in a lot of boardrooms across a number of different corporates. So we knew that we needed to prove ourselves a lot more by the work that we do, so that the work is the one that's going to speak the most for us.
How did you break that barrier? Because individuals would say that, especially in the world of advertising, right? Especially in the world of advertising, media buying, all of the sorts, marketing as well. These are relationships that have been established for 20, 25 years on, relationships with existing companies that are continuing. Some of the major marketing corporations have had relationships existing with different facets of it that extend for years. Now you come in as a black-owned entity saying, listen, guys, give us a shot. How did you break that brand?
I think it definitely was about the work, because ultimately, being able to even just get an ability to get into a boardroom is a challenging thing. And luckily, I guess for me, having been in the corporate space for, I guess, plus 10 years before that, was very helpful to be able to really establish, the brand and the name and the ability and the way of doing marketing across a number of different brands before that. So it was really, really helpful. But the barrier to be able to even get into working with some of the best brands or some of the biggest brands is a real challenge. And not only that, even if when you are playing with some of the big players, you're almost playing at a much lower level in comparison to some of the big established agencies. So you are being paid much less than a bigger agency would, for an example, or you are deemed to be more affordable, so to speak. So it's been 7 years since we've been running this journey.
Which means that you're no longer a startup.
So we're no longer definitely a startup, but it's taken that long, at least to be able to command the level of respect and requirement that we also need to meet as an agency. It's a very, very difficult space, but we need to kind of push on, because we can't let it be this way forever.
Has there ever been a moment that you just thought, and now looking at the accolades, you kind of go, okay, maybe it was a good idea that I didn't, but have there ever been a moment where you just decided, you know what, I'm actually throwing in the towel, I'm going back to corporate, I'm going back to work, because this entrepreneurship game is simply not adequate?
It is challenging, I must say. I think what I did have a misconception about was that the startup phase was going to be the most difficult. But actually, 7 years in, now it's getting real. It's getting much more real than it was in the initial stages, because it was quite fun. It was, it was smaller, and now as it's going bigger, as it's becoming a lot more, I guess, focused, it's a lot more challenging. And so, no, I never wanted to ever, throw in the towel. But I think I'm also inspired by a lot of really great black agencies in the past who were established and who were able to really run the race. And I think I've been able to have some examples, at least, to inspire me to understand that it's still 7 years, but it's still, there's a lot to do and there's a long way to go.
Well, it certainly is a long way to go, but I think that within that long way, you certainly have got reasons to feel quite proud of yourselves as an agency. Take a look at the accolades, as you can see right there in front of you, with the different awards and the much coveted for the Campaign of the Year award. Congratulations, and all the best for your future. And I know that it's going to be absolutely bright when it comes to DNA Brands. You've got DNA Brands, the chief architect. Can I call you the chief architect?
I'm definitely the
chief architect of DNA Brands, Sylvester Chauke, just giving us the latest in terms of his walk, his journey, and how does it feel to win much coveted awards.